Hello, everyone.
Welcome back! It's the next day!
Welcome to the tea parties.
Oh my goodness, I'm exhausted, but I had some sleep, so I'm slightly less exhausted, but I still don't feel... I'll be honest, I still am rocked by what the fuck we did yesterday. Because we did like 10 hours of recording in one day, which is just a blast.
Yeah.
It was fun though. It was fun.
I think...
But holy shit.
Truth be told, we probably did episode 8 a disservice by going through it that quickly.
Yeah.
I think I didn't enjoy things as much as I would have if we'd paced it a bit better.
We should probably say something for the recap, but I did the same thing when I read it myself, obviously, as I mentioned during the playthrough. Go back a couple weeks, find that video.
Whatever.
But like, yeah, I did the same thing. I didn't have any problems when I went through it.
I'll tell you why.
I did, hold on, I'm not finished. I did have one problem, that was in the scene when, the final scene with Burn Bianji. But we'll get into that in the recap because that's going to be a bit awkward to talk about. Anyway,
I'll give you my thesis. It's because you didn't have to perform it when you read it the first time through.
That's true. That's very true. I hope that everyone at home really enjoyed our silly voices. I hope that was a fun time.
Let's
Holy
get started.
Shit, my energy levels. Oh my god, the EPA tea party.
This is it.
Oh, well, we get the Uru tea party as well.
I would qualify these as one collective.
They probably will be pretty short. Oh look, we're back in the city of books! Yay! Oh, I'm okay. Oh my goodness. Oh. Alright, time to narrate, ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. The majestic witch of theatre-going drama and spectating set down her pen, looked at the ceiling, and sighed deeply. The desk was covered with a scattered mountain of paper, covered with writing. Words were packed onto the pages in a thin, high information density language that only the great ones could read. I read that as great formation. I was like, why is that a thing? Why is it a great formation? What does that mean? What
This makes no sense. Oh wait, I'm just an idiot.
What distinguishes a great formation from a mediocre formation? Ask the Romans. Each letter of this language carried the same amount of information as several books in the human world. That's convenient. These letters filled every inch of this huge pile of paper. Surely, she had written out every little detail of some world.
There's just a big fucking gap where Landis' death is.
Yes! I have written it all. Though to be accurate, I have not truly written it all. She stood up, sat down in her favorite rocking chair, and rocked peacefully for a while. How far must one write before they can say they've written it all? That is what has bothered me in all my years of writing. The adventures of humans can be very interesting as a tale. However, even I still don't know when that adventure stops being an adventure. My old friend, who is now gone, once said that a human's life is an adventure from beginning to end, so it's never a correct time to set down one's pen. I do not agree. I think one must put away the pen at some point. I believe one should write the tales at an appropriate point, then let the aftertaste and opinions to the minds of the spectators. In short, the tale must be put inside of a cat box at the appropriate time. The cat box has been the subject of this long tale, so is it not better to refrain from writing its demise, to instead put it in the cat box and leave it there? Featherin spoke to no one inside the empty study. Of course, no one commented on her words.
Yeah, no one.
Except for us. However, Featherin seemed to hear something. Oh, shit, can she hear us?
Probably.
Through the microphone?
Probably.
Featherin, you were a sly gal.
I'd love to see the alternate dialogue if you played the game without a microphone.
She nodded and grinned contentedly. Yes, I know. I will write a bit further, then lay down my pen. Then it will be time for us to say our goodbyes. Featherin held up a finger and spun it around, a signal that she wanted to darken the room. The lights in the study dimmed. Would you mind letting me rest for a while? During that time my cat, or rather my Miko, will entertain you.
Is it more burn?
I guess so.
Just what we needed was more burn.
More burn. This will be you.
Lambda.
Yes.
Oh, you suck. Can't you be less clumsy with that needle?
Shut up.
Oh my god, I didn't realize how destroyed my throat was. Holy shit.
Oh my god. Let's go.
Oh. Ooh.
Shut up. If you don't want it sewn by hand, I'll use a sewing machine.
Oh, no machines. I want you to do it by hand. So please just be a bit more gentle. Oh!
It's impossible. It'll get better if you spit on it.
Ah! Don't just start licking me all of a sudden.
I think this needle should be thick enough. This'll hurt like hell, so you better close your eyes. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Don't say that right before you start. Ah!
But despite all this, the two of them truly were close. Their Lambda Delta had been brutally dismembered in the final fight. She had survived, but unfortunately she was still dismembered. So, Ben Castle was sewing her arms and head back on with a needle and thread. It makes sense!
I agree.
The left arm, which is still waiting to be reattached, walked around on the bed impatiently with its index and middle fingers. Only the arms were left to do, so it looked like this would be finished soon. Then, Erica returned, slamming the door open. I'm home, my master! I brought some sesame salt! Why sesame salt? You aren't planning to put it in tea, are you? Oops. That was Lambda! No! Already fucked up. Fucked up.
I will take points.
Can we take points for that?
5 points.
5 points? I was gonna say 3 points, but 5 is good. It's Erica's toy. Erica, did you bring your chopsticks? Yes, my master. Great detectives have their magnifying glasses. Fruta Erica has her chopsticks. Are you ready? Pour out that sesame salt and use these chopsticks to separate the sesame seeds from the salt. Yes, my master. Please watch my fantastic chopstick wielding skills. Yeah. Good luck. When you're done, make sure you put everything back in the bag.
You still bullying her like that?
Yes. How rude. I'm playing with her. Ah, yes, Erica. The mailman just came by with a letter addressed to you. A letter? I sense a crime calling to me. Don't tell me. I'll guess who sent it. The postmark is from heaven. It's probably from Glenor or someone. I'm surprised you're still in touch. Just by the presence of this postmark, see how far Berncastle's reasoning has taken her. Hey! You can't do that, my master! Van Dyne's Ninth, it's forbidden to have multiple detectives! Then you better get out. So long, great detective Erica. But my master, how could you? I'm Erica, Witch of Truth! God damn.
I can still tell if you two like each other or hate each other.
Of course we hate each other. You're the only one I love.
It bothers me so much that the top of Lambda's hat is cut off.
Oh, it is! What happened there? Oh. How could you, my master? Lady Lambda Delta, it looks like there's not enough room for the two of us.
Are you serious? You challenging the Great Lambda Delta?
Yes. Erica grinned and grabbed Lambda Delta's left arm, which had been walking around on the bed. You gonna beat her with her own arm. I have here Lady Lambda Delta's arm, and here is the sliced open end of her arm. Erica grinned and wiggled her fingers menacingly.
Wait, you're thinking...
Let's see if my rival can handle this.
Stop, that tickles!
She tickled the inside of Lambda Delta's left arm.
Not a sentence I ever thought I would read.
This makes sense. Apparently, she was extremely ticklish there. I just need a second.
This is ridiculous.
Incidentally, the open end of Lambda Delta's arm had cute, fluffy white cotton candy poking out. Apparently, her body was made out of sweet candy with a bit of spice thrown in. Put your mind at ease, as there is nothing remotely terrifying about this scene.
Thank you, Ryuichi.
Audience. Erica ran around screaming, I defeated Lady Lambda Delta all by myself, just like my master.
Except for all the times that Lambda wasn't beaten by Burn.
Wasn't beaten, no. Lambda Delta growled and hissed at her. Berncastle kept on sewing, an exasperated look on her face. So she's literally like sewing cotton candy together. Like, it's great.
I see no problems here.
I know, I have no problems. I think it's great.
This is exactly how this story arc needed to end.
Oh yeah, it was a very peaceful scene. So, what does the letter say?
Also, I love it's like basically children just having their playtime in their room,
Yes.
and it's described as peaceful.
Absolutely.
When that is what I would
The
describe as
opposite.
the antithesis.
The opposite of kids playing around. Absolutely.
Anything about what Glenora and the others have been up to?
Gertrude's son has been promoted to full... This would be Erica. Or either know.
I don't know, that sounds like Burn words to me.
Get out of here.
Or something.
Get out of here. Gertrude Science will be promoted to a full Inquisitor or something. Well, good for her, yay. Ooh, in addition to a cat, she's got a meow wolf now, too. What's a meow wolf?
What, you don't know? You're so out of touch. They've been all the rage lately. Even I got a female meow wolf a few days back.
What is a meow
You could
wolf?
make an awesome competitor with them, too.
What? I'm totally lost, but I'll make sure I stay far away from your homemade food in the future. Cordelia-san is, during an Inquisitor exam, she found that she's really good at fighting, so she started combat training. Pretty hard to imagine her doing that, right?
Well, there's all kinds of combat training. What's she doing?
It looks like kickboxing and Chinese kenpo. Could that be Ava's influence? I'll bet she'd fight pretty good standing on one leg.
Good point. After all, she's been trained pretty well by a certain someone already.
Oof, throwback. It also mentions Wilson. There's a surprise. Looks like Wilson hit it big on the foreign exchange market and he's now living a life of leisure on the income from his real estate investments. Sounds like he started playing badminton lately too. What? I'll bet he has a hellish coach.
His butt's probably swollen by now.
Oh my god. So, what about Glanor? As usual, she's stamping things, sealing things, approving things, and sometimes even signing things. She humbly asked us to stir up a crime in her district and she would get assigned to it personally. Well, why don't we? Crime sounds fun. They say crimes occur wherever the detective goes.
I think we got those lines.
You know
wrong.
what? That's fine. That's fine. You know what? Who's bullying her?
I don't know.
Oh shit. Hit it one more time. Hit it one more time.
I'll take 3 points for the last screen.
This is Erica. This is Erica then. One of these days, if I feel like it, I might drop by to bully her. Oh, and there's also something here about the Siesta Sisters Corps. Wait, I don't want to hear it all at once. You've got to pause a bit for dramatic effect. Okay, that'll do it.
I finally grew my right arm back. Do the left one now, please.
Wait! Whatever. Let's have some tea first. Erica, bring in a can of black tea and the pot of dried plums. Yes, my master! With this particular journey over and done with, the Voyager witches rested their wings. It was all so that they could leave on a new journey in search of the next fragment. A short break between trips, backdropped by the pleasant scent of black tea.
Where are you going this time?
If you go north, I'm heading south.
And if you go east, I'm heading west.
I hope we can find another charming tale like this one.
Next time I heard you on playing the villain again, Burn.
You do. Being the bad guy was pretty fun.
I wonder what kind of tale we'll find next.
And what kind of tale we'll next meet in?
The usual pair of lovers, the sea fragments is tiny.
Children of Paradise.
The sea fragments is pretty huge.
Ghost in the Shell.
We'll meet again. When something else cries.
Sounds good. Let's do that.
We'll meet again. When something else cries.
I think it is completely fitting that Lambda was half a syllable ahead of you the entire time.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Perfect. Even the laughter makes sense. The happy voices of the witches faded into the distance.
Oh my god, I didn't realize how dead my throat was.
I know. I'm feeling you.
Whew.
At least you don't have to do all the narration and 3 of the 4
I
characters in the
have
scene.
offered to do the narration and you keep strapping me down.
Never. This is my job. I will do it. So long, everyone. See you again when something else cries.
I'm expecting credits, but they're not coming, are they?
We'll see.
They would have been here already if it was credits.
No, there's no
shit,
credits.
really?
When something else cries, achievement unlocked.
There you go.
And that was the first tea party. I guess we'll just do the second one because that was literally 15 minutes. Probably less.
Probably less. It was probably like 10 minutes because we had 2 minutes of preamble intro that we'll probably cut.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with citrus.
It's true.
The Witch of Oranges.
The Witch of Oranges. Oh dear.
Let's go.
Final tea party for those who are not human. This is it. This is the last thing.
I can't wait for it to unlock the question mark.
After decades.
After decades.
Yes, after decades.
Uh-huh. Very interested to see what this involves.
Yeah.
Okay, so the conferencey thing, lots of people.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to see what happens. It was the largest banquet hall in this huge hotel. The many guests that filled the room chatted and applauded the person receiving an award trophy on top of the stage. The sign in front said, "Award ceremony from Japan's greatest publishers." And now I would like to begin the novel category. The winner is that fantasy adventure novel we all know so well, the story that started a worldwide movement that continues to grow in leaps and bounds, Sakutaro's Great Adventure! Hey! The projector in front of the audience.
I'm gonna be completely honest, I can't imagine that selling particularly well.
Shh, it's a great name. The projector in front of the audience showed a brief summary of the series. It was a lengthy fantasy adventure novel that was already more than 8 installments long. A thrilling fantasy story told of the adventures of Sakutaro, a cowardly Vegeta lion who makes friends, learns through his experiences, and grows in his search for the one fragment. The main character's catchphrase, "I'll become the king of the beasts," was even one of the candidates for the Buzzwords of the Year award. I don't believe that. I definitely don't believe that. In addition to being a thrill to read, it's a good thing this is fantasy, the books also contained many messages for children to learn from, earning it high praise as an adventure novel that parents and kids could enjoy reading together. However, it hadn't received such praise from the beginning. For the first 6 volumes, it went almost entirely unnoticed, but last year, when foreign translations of the series began, winks at camera, it got its big break and suddenly became a huge topic of conversation. Even before this series, the author had created quite a lot of works, but none of those achieved any public acclaim. However, after this sudden rise in notoriety, her previous works were being re-evaluated one after another. In that sense, it's probably fair to call her an author who went unrecognized for quite a long time. Miss Kotobuki, congratulations on your award! Your latest Sakutaro Goes to the Witch's Island was truly an excellent read. Publishing company executives repeatedly showered her with praise. Sakutaro's Great Adventure. The author's name was Kotobuki Yukari. Nearly all of her royalties were sent to a fund to support needy children, and she herself had served as the director at several protective institutions. Some envious people tried to call this fake charity, but the more the people learned about her, the more those voices withered and died away. Kotobuki Yukari. By now, that name rang loud and clear across Japan. She sat in a chair, cheerfully chatting with the people who came to greet her. Last year, she was diagnosed with the initial stages of cancer, and after the surgery, her physical strength dropped sharply. Because of this, even in this stand-up awards party, she was given a chair and sat down while greeting people. Some people lamented, saying that if only she had been 20 or even 10 years younger, she might have left her mark in history as one of the greatest authors in the 21st century. It had taken so long for her to receive the praise she deserved. She could no longer be called young. Even so, her determination to write had not wavered in the slightest. The story had gone around that, even during her stay in the hospital, most of her time had been spent typing away. She always said the same thing, that she hadn't finished telling everything she needed to tell. Did she mean that she hadn't fully completed Sakutaro's Great Adventure? When that question was asked by a journalist, this is how she answered. His voice, my dude.
I'm assuming it's Angie.
The voice, my dude.
If by writing even one more book I can teach just one more child how to find happiness, then I'll spend the rest of my life writing every book, every page that I can, because I still haven't fully conveyed the precious teachings I was given.
Miss Kotobuki, congratulations on your award. I hear the movie adaptation has been getting splendid reviews as well. Oh, if only. If you keep this up, you might even pass up Harry Potter's record. Oh, Harry the Potato. Harry the Potato. It was the name of a fantasy series that had become a worldwide hit. I watch Harry the Potato.
Ryukishi, you piece of shit. I'm not sure whether this is better or worse than Deltony Land.
No, it's brilliant. It's amazing. It's even better.
This is me again, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your kind words. It's more than I deserve.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. My name is X, head of Company X. Oh my god.
Trap X.
X, head of Company X. This is his first editorial department.
It's an honor to meet you. I hope we have a chance to work together sometime.
God damn it. Actually, Miss Kotobuki, I apologize for being abrupt, but have you heard of the novelist known as Hachijo Toya?
Never once.
Hachijo Toya, you say?
She remembered that name from several decades ago. She hadn't expected to ever hear it again. Do you know that name? Have you met Hachijo by any chance?
No, I haven't. I did go to visit once, but I was an unknown back then. Since I suddenly barged into the publishing company's office, it's hardly surprising that I was refused an interview.
Oh, I didn't know that. Could it be that you're a fan of Hachijo's work?
No, I just wanted to find out what sort of person she was.
Ah, I see. Well, the truth is about that novelist. Hachijo Toya would like to meet with you discreetly.
To meet with me?
Yes. Not as a formal interview, but personally off the record. If you're interested, we would be happy to arrange the meeting. But of course, this has nothing to do with work. Hachijo Toya wants to meet Kotobuki Yukari.
It's like how I realized that Totoi Kakuro was Hachijo Toya. Did she use my name to figure out my identity?
I'd love to know what the name is.
What the word game is here?
Yeah. The Rekenjima Mystery has been called one of the greatest social phenomena at the turn of the century. That uproar which dragged enthusiasts from across the world suddenly subsided after an event held by Hachijo Toya, where she was going to unveil the diary of Ashuramiya Eva, which contained the truth. Though she had set up the event herself, she then outrageously disappeared without releasing the contents of the diary, drawing harsh criticism for doing so. However, a very obvious feeling had been revived in the public sphere. They'd been prying into a terrible accident with many victims purely out of curiosity, and so the frenzy surrounding the Rekenjima Mystery had faded away quietly. Hachijo Toya, no, Totoi Kakuro. She'd caught the public eye as a forger of Rekenjima Mysteries. She claimed to have reached the truth and released groundbreaking works of fiction one after another. She became famous as the driving force behind the Rekenjima Mystery. After realizing that Totoi Kakuro was Hachijo Toya, I went to her publishing company to ask for an interview, but I didn't get one. At the time, I despised her.
I do like the fact that they've tied up the Company X thing in that it's like, here, you can enter our contest and we'll pick your novel. Now she's just fucking running the company.
Yeah.
Back in the beginning, I thought she might have used the Rekenjima Mystery as a publicity stunt to advance herself. Now I feel a bit grateful to her. If she hadn't refused to show the diary in such an outrageous way, the Rekenjima Catbox might still be the plaything of countless goats. She was indeed a forger who had toyed with the Catbox, and I still had an uneasy feeling about her. However, at the same time, she was the one who, practically speaking, allowed Rekenjima to rest in peace. And did she really reach the truth? How'd she reach something that seemed infinitely close to the truth, even from my perspective? Even now, after all these years, that's something I've wanted to know.
Well, what do you think, Miss Kotobuki? Of course, this is not an urgent request. I was told to tell you to take your time in making a decision if you wished.
I understand. Does Hachijo Toya live near the city?
I was told that a meeting near here would be satisfactory at any time.
I see. In that case, can I ask for you to arrange a meeting for us in a quiet coffee shop next Sunday?
Yes, as you wish. Thank you very much. I believe Hachijo will be delighted as well.
I have one condition.
Yes, whatever you say.
I'm not going to discuss business, so please refrain from sending anyone from the editing department.
But of course, we'll do as you say.
Madam Hachijo and I will meet alone, just the two of us. Can I count on you to keep that promise?
Well, as to that, we would, appreciate if you kept this quiet, but...
What is it?
Well, the truth is, the works of Hachijo Toya were written by two people. To the outside world, these books were written by a single female author, but, there is actually a second author, a male one. The pair of them asked for a chance to meet you.
As soon as I heard that, I felt a premonition. How did Hachijo Toya, a person with no connections to the Ashuramiya family, manage to write about it in such detail? I was already feeling a premonition of a certain kind of miracle. When I left on my journey, I abandoned the name of Ashuramiya Anji and stepped into a new life. By now, things have settled down, but when the Sumidera family was still a threat, I wanted to distance myself from that name. Thanks to that, no one was able to get in touch with the new me anymore. However, now that Sakataro's adventures finally caught the public eye this year and made the name of Kotobuki Yukari famous, maybe it finally reached his ears. I used to play with a lion stuffed animal called Sakataro along with Mario and Chan. If those who knew this connected the name of Sakataro with my name, then it's only natural they'd figured out who I was. The number of people who'd be able to recognize me from that was very, very small. This person was also well versed in detective novels and a man. I could only think of one person who matched. After all, I knew just how many detective novels he'd piled up in his room from the time when his effects were gone through. It was almost the time we'd arranged for our meeting. My heart was racing, almost like a girl in love for the first time. At the very instant the arranged time came, I heard the sound of the chime on the door, and they appeared. There was a man sitting on a wheelchair and a woman pushing him. My eyes immediately fixed on the man in the wheelchair, and right away I saw the traces that remained on his face. There's no doubt about it. He's my brother. My brother is Shiramiya Battler.
Oh my
There
god,
he
it's
is.
just fucking Kinzo.
It is the Kinzo face.
When our eyes met, he gave a little bow. I hurried to my feet and bowed back. I was somewhat exaggerated and silly way for a pair of siblings to greet each other after several decades apart. However, my mind was already blank. The miracle I'd waited for all this time was now a reality.
Are you Miss Kotobuki Yukari?
Yes, I am, and you two must be Hachijo Toya.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much for letting us borrow your precious time today. My name is Hachijo Ikuko. I am mostly in charge of the actual writing. This is Toya. He mostly handles the drafting.
Though the woman who called herself Ikuko was far older than me, she seemed to be unbelievably youthful. It wasn't because she was good with makeup or dressed like a younger woman. It feels strange to say it. There's a strange mystique about her, as though she was immortal and never aging. And I quickly remembered she'd introduced my brother as Toya. Pardon me for asking, but are you two married?
Oh, we are not married, but we have been together for a long time.
True. Looking back on it, it really has been a long time. My brother smiled as he spoke. When I learned that at least for him those long decades hadn't been a period of isolation and loneliness, I felt an incredible sense of peace and relief. Before I knew it, he was staring back into my face. Well, I was just 6 years old the last time we met. Must be hard for him to find any traces he can recognize. However, I'm sure he'd recognize something just the same. We kept stealing glances at each other and looking away like a couple on a blind date. We were both at an age where outside appearances mattered to us, even though we both knew we wouldn't let our polite exterior falter. This humorous exchange was extremely embarrassing. I thought it would be a fated reunion, that we would hold each other and sob tears of gratitude together. However, reality seemed to be different. But that's fine. Feels like my heart will explode with happiness.
Let's take our orders. Is coffee okay? What does everyone want?
I prefer something that isn't so bitter. How about you, Miss Kotobuki?
Oh, I don't mind. I guess I'll just have a cafe au lait. How stiff we're all being. Even my brother seems to be finding it amusing by now.
Well now,
When she said that, my brother and I fell silent and sat up straight.
should I start? Or we start with you, Toya? Wait, hold on.
Huh?
Was that supposed to be Anjay saying should
I
I
don't
start?
know.
You know what? That's fine. Toya's going first.
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm the one who pushed so hard for this meeting, after all.
As he spoke, he watched me calmly.
I came here today thinking that you might be a certain person. Her name is Ashirmiya Angie. When I read your works and heard your name, I was sure you were her.
That's right. How long it's been since I last used that name. My true name is Ashirmiya Angie. I gave the exaggerated bow that I'd gotten so used to these long years. We've both aged, haven't we, Oni-chan? I whispered this in my heart. Now it was my turn. With a quick apology, I fished around my handbag and took out a photo. There's a picture from a trip I'd taken to an amusement park with Battler Oni-chan. Fuck you, Dad!
Oh, poor Rudolph.
Had many other pictures of us having a good time, but this one had been the best shot of his face. Fuck you, Dad!
But not Rudolph's face. I had no pictures of him. I burned them all.
I looked between him and the photo. There was no longer any room for doubt. Mr. Toya, your true name is Ashirmiya Battler-san, isn't it?
Is this Toya now?
Anjay.
Okay, the hands of the clock inside me stopped. I wanted him to answer with a yes, even though I was already so sure I was still about to burst with the tension. And then when that instant seemed far too long ended, my brother answered.
That's right.
Unconsciously, I stared at my brother's face. With an unbelievable quickness, he acknowledged that he was Ashirmiya Battler. My eyes immediately filled and overflowed with tears. I took out a handkerchief and wiped them away, but I couldn't hold them back. Oni-chan was alive after all. So why didn't he come back to me right away? If he'd been there during my darkest days, it would have meant so much to me. Normally the thought would have made me curse my brother, but by now even that emotion was softened. After all, now that I was faced with the miracle of being reunited with Oni-chan, everything I'd felt before fell away with my tears. At this moment I was happy. I was never alone. I worked so hard for decades with the belief in my heart, and now I've finally been rewarded. By now I couldn't even stop my tears. For some time I continued to sob and sniffle. Watching this, my brother hung his head apologetically. Why didn't he come back to me sooner? Looked as though he was feeling regret for that. But I'm sure he had some sort of reason. He's probably here today to tell me about it and apologize. Already just by him introducing himself to me today, everything inside of me has been washed clean with tears.
I'm sorry, it must be embarrassing you. Oh, fuck.
No!
5 points.
I thought that was correct too, so
Yeah.
it's bad.
No, it's only to be expected. For several decades you've been waiting all alone, believing your family would return.
I believed you'd come home, Oni-chan. I held out my hand weakly and my brother slowly held out his too. Then I gripped his hand. Regardless of how many long years had passed, it was without a doubt my brother's hand. Once more I had to struggle to hold back tears. Aneva avoided the explosion accident by escaping to Kuudorian. How did you escape the accident, Nissan?
On that day, I escaped through the underground passage.
The one that goes to Kuudorian.
I was told that an underground passage led to a hidden mansion on the opposite side of the island. However, the place we escaped to is a submarine base, not Kuudorian.
I don't know why my brother entered the underground passage on that day. At any rate, he went into the underground passage, and unlike Aneva, he escaped to the submarine base. There, he escaped the explosion and survived.
After that, I got away in a motorboat. However, it must have capsized somewhere along the way.
It must have?
Please forgive him. Toya suffers from memory loss. His memory from around the time he was drowning in the ocean is hazy.
Could it be that he forgot he was a Shurimiya battler for a while?
That is correct.
Yeah, that explains nearly all of the riddles. My brother escaped from the explosion, but either his boat capsized during his escape from the island or he fell overboard. Afterwards, he must have drifted somewhere, wandered about half-conscious, and probably got into a traffic accident. Interesting assumption you've made there, Angie.
Yes, a traffic accident. Somebody hit him. It was truly tragic, and I had nothing to do with it. On that day, he was lying on the road.
If she'd found me even a little later, I probably wouldn't have opened my eyes again.
I believe he suspected that I was the one who hit you for quite some time.
Hey, I've already apologized for that.
This explains pretty much everything. Either because of the time he nearly drowned or because of the traffic accident, my brother's memory was damaged. His memory probably came back eventually. However, by that time I had already set foot into my new life as Kotobuki Yukari. Only a handful of people, including President Okanogi, knew where I was. Even if my brother wanted to contact me, there's a very good chance he wouldn't be able to. Ironically, the name I abandoned when I decided to live in the future delayed my reunion with my brother for so long. In that sense, I'm responsible. I did it to myself. However, I'm sure I received the message my brother sent me. That message was Atui Kokuro. I realized that Atui Kokuro, the forger who claimed to have reached the truth, was actually Hachijo Toya. Then I requested a meeting with her through the publishing company to question her about why she was so sure she'd reached the truth. However, I wasn't granted a meeting. In the end, I heard nothing from them, and it's taken all these decades for me to meet Hachijo Toya. If the publishing company only passed my message on, we could have been reunited so much sooner. However, at the time, I was just a bourgeois girl who liked to throw money around. Why would they pass on my message when I just barged in with no introduction and demanded to meet the famous and popular Hachijo Toya? We probably crossed paths several times. If just one of those had worked out, if we'd been able to meet, just how much would my life have changed? But this was fate. God had decided that a few decades were needed before the sibling reunion. And during that time, my brother became one half of a mystery novelist. I became a writer of an adventure novel for children. You could say that we achieved success in society. My brother and I were reunited after becoming successful. Now I could do nothing but thank God for bringing about this miracle. Maybe it was God's will that we would be reunited after achieving success as novelists. Back then I was nameless, so I never got through to you. We've met now because we both became famous authors. I think all of this is God's will.
At the time, we heard through the publishing company that you wanted to have an interview with us. They said that a fan who discovered Atui Kokuro's true identity wanted to talk to her.
Must have had dozens of fans dying for an interview. You couldn't possibly go to meet all of them.
No. They let us know that your name was Oshumi Angie. At the time, I'd already realized that Toya's true name was Oshumi Battler, so I thought you should be given a chance to meet with him.
I refused.
My brother said that to me. What did you say?
I refused because I didn't want to meet you.
Once more, my brother spoke clearly. I was completely confused. I could only sit there in shock and silence, waiting for those words that were sure to follow.
I believe I already mentioned that Toya suffered from memory loss, and then one day...
Why'd you refuse when you knew it was me? I cut through Ikuko's words and questioned him directly. What reason could my brother have for rejecting me? I couldn't think of anything. That unpleasant emotion brought up long-forgotten feelings of anger inside me. You must have known that your little sister was living alone, being crushed by loneliness. So why did you refuse to meet me? My brother hung his head. It seemed more like he was lost for words than apologetic. There was nothing shy about his appearance, and I questioned him again in an even louder voice. When I asked for an appointment with Ichijo Toya, Itoi Kakuro was already famous as a forger. Why did Itoi Kakuro's forgeries reach the truth? It's obvious. My brother Ashiramiya Battler explained to her what happened on the island in detail. So the appearance of Itoi Kakuro proves that my brother's memory had returned. Therefore he can't excuse himself by saying he didn't remember me. In fact, in reality, he didn't try to make excuses. On the contrary, he openly said that he'd refused to meet with me even though he knew who I was.
Looking back, I regret what I did.
You regret it? Did you ever try thinking about how I felt? For decades, for most of my life. You realized what feelings I had to live with. Various emotions swirled inside of me. I realized that I wasn't in control of them anymore. I could only moan to prevent myself from saying something I'd regret.
I feel deeply ashamed for doing something so cruel to you. That's why I've searched for you ever since then. For your sake and for mine, I should have met you much earlier.
And why wouldn't you meet me then?
Miss Kotobuki, as I said before, his memory was damaged. Or perhaps I should say that his brain was damaged. It's an after effect of the accident.
His memory came back just the same, didn't it?
Yes, his memory came back. However, that did not remove the after effects of the damage.
I've assured me of Battler's memories. However, because of the damage to my brain, I can't think of those as my own.
Can't think of those as your own?
Yes. It's true that my memory of my escape from the island is still hazy. However, I've remembered almost everything else. Like how those pink-haired ornaments of yours that you treasure so much was something I won for you at the game corner at that amusement park.
Yeah, that's right. They're a treasure from where I was a child. I still keep them with me in my handbag.
I remember a lot more besides that. I remember you giving Mum trouble because you hated eating seaweed. I remember you tried to move it to my plate and trick her. And when...
If you remember that much, then why can't you think of those memories as your own?
It's a result of the damage to my brain. I've been to several hospitals, but it didn't do any good. Probably can't understand it. You can't know how painful it is to have your mind suddenly filled with the memories of a man you don't know.
He was terrified that he wasn't himself anymore. His mind was filled with the memories of a man he didn't recognize, and they threatened to crush and overwhelm him. They must have been his own lost memories. However, his brain couldn't accept those as his own.
Those days were painful, terrifying. Felt like my mind was being invaded. Tonight when I turn off the lights and go to sleep, maybe I will never wake up again. Maybe a different man will wake up tomorrow morning and start living in my body. I can't count the nights that this terror tormented me.
Several times he tried to convince himself that they were his real memories. He told himself that he was a Ashiramiya Battler over and over again.
And nothing worked. I am me, Ichijo Toya. No matter how much Ashiramiya Battler's memories flow into my mind, to me they're the memories of another person. I couldn't accept Ashiramiya Battler.
As Ashiramiya Battler said this, he hung his head and his eyes turned red.
Then one day, when he was caught between himself and the other self he couldn't accept, he had a fit. Fortunately, his life was spared, but the after effects forced him to spend his life in a wheelchair.
You mean he... Now I know why he showed up in that wheelchair. Now I know why he refused to meet with me. He was afraid that I would call him Big Brother. He was terrified of meeting me, fearful the part of himself that the part of himself that wasn't him would grow still further in his mind.
Even so, he fought. He felt that, since the Ashiramiya Battler was inside of him, it was his responsibility to meet you. Thinking that, he kept on fighting in the space between his two selves.
And then he had a fit. After something like that, it was only natural that Ikuko would tell him he didn't need to remember Ashiramiya Battler anymore. Bit by bit, he tried to forget that he was once Ashiramiya Battler. Doctor's instructions and medication. With that and Ikuko's diligent care, he slowly began to regain his peace of mind.
Even so, I thought I'd have to meet you sooner or later. To be honest, I didn't get a wink of sleep last night. I was scared of meeting you. If I met you, would I die? Yeah, I was afraid. However, here I am talking to you normally. That's why I regret what I did. If only I could have met with you earlier, you and the Shirmiya battler inside of me might not have had to suffer for all those years. Just thinking that makes me feel so sorry.
As the one who was once a Shirmiya battler said this, he broke down crying. I already understood. So it really was true. A Shirmiya battler did die that day. After all, didn't the witch just say he was dead so often with the red truth? How pathetic for the witch of resurrection, the witch of the future who swore that everyone would be together always.
Toya-san, please. Raise your head.
Oh.
Yep.
I feel like that was probably pretty obvious. I feel like we should give points.
You know what? That's fine. We'll give points.
3 points. Miss Kotobuki.
They realized why I'd called him Toya-san. By calling him by that name, I myself felt the agitation in my heart subside a little. Thank you. Must have suffered so much. Thank you, Mr. Toya. Thank you, Nissan. Thanks for pushing yourself so hard to come here today. Holding hands, we brought our foreheads close and cried together for a while. Then we talked of the old days. He remembered many things vividly, even things I couldn't remember myself. Each time they made me cry even harder, and he hung his head apologetically. I realized how much this hurt him, so I kept nodding in encouragement with a strange look on my face, something between a sob and a smile. Even if he isn't a Shirmiya battler, my Oni-chan came back to me. Welcome home, Oni-chan.
Ugh.
Yeah?
Ugh.
How you doing?
I'm struggling.
You're not feeling good?
That was rough.
I know.
That was actually rough.
I know. I believe in you. We gotta keep going, dude.
The worst part is like, I already make myself physically, like...
In character? Wait, where are you going with this?
Like, the way that I do Angie's voice, the reason it sounds like the way that it does is because I push myself into a physically miserable state. Like,
yes.
So, trying to do this voice in sad scenes is so much harder than doing any other voice in sad scenes.
I believe in you, my friend. I believe you can do this. It's for the audience.
I know. Listen, there's nothing wrong with me being upset over this, because it's like,
I know. Be strong, my friend. If you need to cry, you can cry on my shoulder.
You're welcome.
It had already gotten dark outside. Even though he'd come from far away, he was willing to stay as late as this. We left the store. It's probably best if I don't meet with Mr. Toya again. It'll cause him pain, and of course I'll find myself bound to the past again. Even so, just one more time. There's one place I felt I had to show him. Mr. Toya, would you mind meeting with me just one last time? There's a place I feel I need to show you.
Sure, I don't mind.
From my handbag, I pulled an invitation written on a piece of folded up A4 paper.
Pair of them spread it out. My. Now this looks like a splendid event.
Come to think of it, you've been involved in a lot of things besides novels, haven't you?
Would you lend me your time just once more on that day? That way I think both me and my brother will be satisfied. I think it might also be a chance for you to free yourself from the weight of my brother's memory, Mr. Toya.
I don't believe we have any plans for then. As long as we can finish the artwork for the book.
Okay, Miss Kotobuki. We'd be happy to join you.
Thank you, Mr. Toya. Oh geez, I wonder what the place is.
I wonder
what place of supporting children has ever possibly been mentioned that this seems to be the other thing that Kotobuki is doing with her career.
I don't know.
How strange.
Let's do it, dude.
The cold October night was a reminder that winter was approaching. The two people who called themselves Hachijo Toya visited the city once again, by Angie's invitation.
Yeah, no. The car stopped in front of a large building. Ikiko unfolded the wheelchair with a practiced hand, went a shoulder to Toya as he got out of the passenger seat, then helped him into the chair. It looks splendid.
The Fukuen House. It's my first time coming here, but I know it well. I believe it's the institution for children that was funded by the Ashiramiya family.
Madam... or just some random dude?
Just some random dude. Oh.
There you go, she's here.
Madam Ikuko, Mr. Toya, I'll ask to welcome you to the Fukuen House.
They were welcomed by Anjay and some staff members. This was the Fukuen House, a welfare institution for unfortunate children who had lost their parents. In the past, this institution had been established thanks to Ashumiya Kinzo's support. However, that support had been interrupted, and the Fukuin House had been forced to shut down for a time. Decades passed, and now the institution will be revived. Revived by the hand of Kotobuki Yukari. Splendid bit of magic, I would say.
A splendid bit of magic. It's a pleasure to see you again, Miss Kotobuki. Thank you for inviting us. The two of us want you to have this. It's not much, but I hope the children enjoy it.
It's not the reason I invited you here. My apologies.
Don't worry about that. The tales of the future are always woven by children. After all, without them, the tale of humans would not continue.
Children are treasures, so please let this be useful.
Thank you very much. I have a form for donations, so if it isn't too much trouble.
The Fukuin House had been drastically remodeled in recent years, in the hopes that children would one day be able to remember this as a fun place. Anja used her own money to massively remodel it into a beautiful establishment. By now, she had accumulated a lot of wealth as a novelist, but even without that, she had been saving the tens of millions of yen she got from the Yoshinomiya Group each year under the name of living expenses. This money had been used generously to help the children. When they came into the entrance hall, a cheerful scene was spread before them. There were pictures and crafts created by the children.
Is that an old arcade machine on the left?
Looks like it.
That's so old.
I know. This is decades in the future. This is like 2040. And
I mean, not necessarily, right?
Not necessarily, but still. Further in the future than we are, certainly.
I don't know. I would, in my head, this is probably around, like, the end. In my head, this
1998, decades later. Well, I guess we're in 2018.
But 1998 was already 12 years in the future, is how it was
described. Oh, you're thinking decades later
in
from
my head,
the original...
Ryukishi wrote this part of the story as when he was releasing this part of the story.
Maybe.
Which was what, like 2009, 2010?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's when I'm picturing it in my head.
Fair enough. I already read this.
Okay.
Every corner was filled with things on display. The contrast between this elegant building and the school atmosphere was amusing. The yells and laughter of kids running around drifted in from the distance.
I imagine that many of the children come here hanging their heads in sorrow to think that they could laugh like that. You really have done something great. Nice.
Anyone can use magic to create a future and find fragment of happiness. This is a witch's school for teaching that magic.
Yay.
Witch's Dormitory from Sakataro's Great Adventure.
Oh, how embarrassing. So you've read it too?
We read straight through it right after our last meeting.
Yeah, we hadn't touched it before.
we didn't think it was worth our time. I really must bow my head, not only to your talent as a writer, but to your warm heart.
How embarrassing. This way, straight to the end. Pushing Toya's wheelchair, we advanced through the corridor and reached the great doors at the end. The happy voices of children came from the other side. Apparently this was where tonight's party was being held. There were several jack-o'-lanterns cut out of origami. Tonight was the Fukuin House's Halloween party. I can't wait for just something appearing as Lambda Delta to be here. Here we are, Mr. Toya.
I see, so it's trick-or-treat.
He was handed a bag filled with candy. A teacher warned him in a small voice to watch out for the rampaging children.
Children. Haven't had anything to do with them for years.
Please tell the children stories of dreams. All of us welcome guests here.
That's tricky. What should I tell them?
When you're handing in your manuscripts, choose your publishing company wisely.
Don't pay attention to reader polls?
And then I'll open the doors. The children are waiting.
Sorry, I kind of laughed for you there. But
that's alright.
I felt like it was appropriate. Anjay opened the large double doors.
This is just too silly now. This is just too silly.
It's wonderful.
It's too silly.
No, it's definitely not. It's amazing.
This is fucking ridiculous. This is
Umineko. At the side of the hall, Toyo opened his mouth in wide-eyed shock. This was the great hall of the Yoshinomiya mansion. It's impossible. This is definitely the Fukuin house, but its hall, it was just like the one in the Rekenjima mansion. What a splendid hall!
This is a replica of the hall in the Yoshinomiya mansion on Rekenjima.
Yes, I reproduced it as well as my memory would let me. The details might be wrong, though.
No, this really is the whole of the Ashirmia family's mansion on that day.
And then Toyo's eyes fixed
Oh,
on
no.
something at the other side of the room. It was a portrait. A portrait of Rakenjima's other master.
It's exactly the same as my memories.
The artist hired by Ashirmia Kinzo to paint the portrait out of photo. Had him draw it again based on that.
Guess this would be
I guess this is him.
Battler or Toya.
I was simply frozen in shock. The long, large table was filled with Halloween party food and surrounded with children stuffing themselves. The teacher said, "Everyone, we have guests." The children all looked at us once and then stood up and ran forward. Their broad smiles at the arrival
Yes.
of this long-awaited guest enveloped me. Smiles and eyes of the children welcomed me. Yeah, I know. I know all your faces. It's been so long, far too long. I'm finally here at last. I love this.
I know. I'm not gonna cry.
Yes, you are.
Don't let
lie
me
to
cry.
It's too late. You're already
No,
crying.
shush you.
And finally, the whole episode makes sense in my head.
You've kept me waiting, Battler.
Sorry,
Keep going.
showed up pretty late.
What are you doing sitting in a wheelchair like that? Come on, I'll give you a hand. Just straighten up. Beata stepped forward and held out a hand to Battler as he sat in the wheelchair. Battler slowly grasped that hand and rose to his feet. Listen, all of us have finally gathered here. Tonight, the Golden Land will be resurrected in this place. Explosive applause greeted Battler. Everyone was there. Everyone. Then Beata hugged Battler strongly, tightly, as though she would never let him go. It is truly amazing that you made it back.
Home. Sorry it took so long. Won't let go again.
Yeah, I'm not letting go either. We'll be together for all eternity. And that's it for the
What
pack.
an ending!
Oh, fuck.
Woo! Oh boy.
Oh, God.
Ugh.
I'm fine.
No, you're not. Don't lie to me. That was fucking beautiful.
Yeah, it was. Battler finally put to rest at the very end. In the Golden Land. Oh, God. Ah.
Oh boy.
I'm a mess.
I know you are. I nearly am as well. I'm standing up. Woo!
Oh, God. PT, shout out to PT.
I was not prepared for that.
I know.
Holy shit! Woo!
Oh, God. I need tissues. Can you throw me a tissue, please?
Yeah, It's something I prepared earlier.
Thank you.
So, you know that comment I made about Angie's voice being the most difficult to do?
Yeah.
Just that, like, nearly got me in Battler's voice, which is
Yeah.
probably the easiest one to
I
do.
heard.
Yeah, I swear if Angie had spoken once more in that entire scene, I was done for. I was done for. Ah! I'm sorry if the audio of me walking around the room right now is filthy, but...
It's fine.
Oh boy.
We need a minute, everybody. Just listen to the beautiful Italian music. And I'm just gonna sit here crying for a little bit. I'm just thinking.
That is absurd. That is unacceptably good. That is unacceptably good.
I know. I told you. I told you at the very beginning. I was like, this is gonna be a thing. This is gonna be a thing that happens. This is gonna be a journey. It's gonna be fucking hundreds of hours. And when you get to the end, then I'm gonna cry.
Oh my god. That is amazing. That is amazing. I think I'm gonna cut our audio here and just let the music play.
I'm okay with that.
We'll see you in the recap, everyone.
Recap, boys.